Look Up TV. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. Thank you very much for creating time this morning to be with us. We've got a whole session packed for you this morning. We're going to look at exactly what is shaping headlines this morning. I'll be telling you exactly what to expect this week in terms of weather. In fact, let's begin from now, even before I tell you exactly how you get to talk to us this morning. Now, this is according to the weatherman, because Kenyans have been going online this week just to talk about how the weather in this August has surprised them heavily. So let's see what you're expecting today, especially if you are within Nairobi. Right now, it is just slightly above 14 degrees Celsius. That's quite low again by our standards, because our standards are around 28, 20. Sometimes it goes all the way up to 29. So you can imagine exactly where we are, 15 degrees below what we are normally comfortable with in this month of August. And if I tell you exactly where we are today, all the way up to 1 p.m., the highest temperature that we're going to record is 19 degrees Celsius, which we shall be going with all the way up to 4 p.m. Then from 5 p.m., we do expect some rains again in Nairobi. Some parts, actually, in Nairobi yesterday, it was raining the entire day in some parts. If you didn't experience rain, then you should be asking yourself whether you're indeed in Nairobi. All right? Goes all the way up to 15 degrees Celsius at 10 p.m., sorry. And then from there, it's just a downfall all the way down. Let's see exactly where we are tomorrow. Tomorrow, again, the highest is 22. Again, quite low. The least is going to be around 13 degrees Celsius. Something to Thursday. Again, something to Friday. In fact, Friday, the least is going to be 12 degrees Celsius. We do expect the lowest to be on Saturday, going to be a high of 22, 10 as the lowest. Sunday again, 10 as the lowest. Monday, 13 into next week as well. So you can see the weather is just started. In fact, let me just give you bad news all the way to next week, Friday. We do expect that temperatures are still going to range around 12, but then Sunday is going to be the coldest at 9, but then the highest is going to be around 25, but then on Monday probably will be beginning then Monday next week, will be next week but one. Let me just be correct. Next week but one will be coming back to slightly what we do expect at around 26 degrees Celsius as a high and a low of 13. So get your boots out of your closet, all your warm clothes, make sure that they're close to you. And if you don't have an umbrella, make sure that you buy that one that you can carry as you move around the city. Your heavy duvets, make sure that they are in action right now. And that bottle of warm water, that flask that you don't want to walk around with, just make sure that in the next 1 week or so, it is as close to you as it can get, because the temperatures are not going to be favorable at all. You wonder, are we in August? Are we in June, July? It's not good weather for us. This doesn't look good. Someone was telling me yesterday that we do expect that the prices of tomatoes now will start shooting, and onions, because this weather is not favorable for them, So if you can buy them in bulk and blend them and store them, you can ride through a tough September, because I was told the prices are going to shoot. It's not a good weather for those two products. Good. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. Thank you very much for taking your time again to be with us right here at Look Up TV. This is Morning Drift. Just before we begin then, let me take you to what it is that you are waking up to on your dailies this morning. A couple of stories that you have to know this morning as you begin your day. Let's jump into the Daily Nation as usual this morning. Now, the big headline here is how UDA, Raila, members of parliament meeting fell out. All right. Daily Nation is putting it as a riot act. It's a very poignant picture right there from the Daily Nation of the, should I call them the three principles, if you know in the political terms, and you do know why I'm finding it difficult to use that term. We do have the picture right there of former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, President Dr. William Ruto, and Vice President Kithure Kindiki. All right. Now, this is what they're saying. The inaugural joint meeting of ruling coalition and the ODM members of parliament were marred by controversy after President Ruto and the ODM leader Raila Odinga put the lawmakers on the defensive. Now, President, for the third time, publicly condemned the bribery in parliament, vowing to have corrupt members of parliament arrested, while Raila insisted legislators shouldn't run CDF kitty. With a poisoned environment, the forum ended prematurely. That story, by the way, has been covered on page 4 and 5, and I think we saw it also on our social media platforms. That is at lookuptv.co.ke. That's our website, and at lookuptv, that's our social media platforms. You can get more insights on what that story is about. There were a lot of murmurs when former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga took to stage and said, well, I mean, all these funds are devolved. And so NGCDF, according to him, should be run in the counties. It's not a fund that the members of parliament should be running. And they've actually tried and follow or backtrack this. It's been a contentious issue. In fact, even last year, the Chief Justice, Martha Koome, weighed in on this and said that we're not going back on that High Court ruling that these funds should be entrenched within the counties, because what they perform are some functions that are held solely in the county's mandate. Interesting. You need to go and follow that story. And what do you think? You can talk to us at lookuptv.co.ke as well. Interesting development right there of members of parliament falling out with President Dr. William Ruto and his ally. Yes, that's the right word, Raila Amolo Odinga. Good. Other stories here that are covered is on page 6 is what awaits Gachagwa's on return from US tour. Now, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua set to fly into a political storm on a Thursday. Well, there have been controversial statements that have been made by some members of parliament and some leaders in the UDA government were saying that, in fact, they should arrest him. Yeah, he's been hitting the government heavily in his diaspora tour, and in fact, he's been talking tough about coming to clamp on the current leadership, terming them as corrupt, idealist, and in fact, his main agenda, according to him, is that he feels that he's the right man with his new party to lead Kenya into freedom. In fact, his biggest sentiments were even on the amount of money that has been dished to the Harambee Stars players in their charm campaign, saying that, well, those are proceeds of corruption. And in fact, that money doesn't belong to the use that it's been put into. So it's interesting, really. We're going to follow this, especially on his return into the country. We'll be doing stories and giving you updates on what the political temperatures are going to be once the former vice president jets back into the country on Thursday, a much-awaited event politically in the country. On page 2, you're going to read that now patients are stranded abroad after 30-day sharp pay freeze. Ailing Kenyans can access Social Health Authority cash. That story has been covered on page 2. It looks as if the Daily Nation has been really going heavy on the ongoings around SHA that have even taken to the CS Duale's office. In fact, CS Duale has been on the spot, hitting Daily Nation heavily, calling them an agency that if they want to be an agency that is looking into the doings or the undoings of SHA, they should open an office. Quite controversial remarks by him, and they've been covering that story wholeheartedly of SHA and the way it's not been really performing as expected by majority of Kenyans. And you can read that story on page 2, even on news now, on how some insurance funds, including SHA, are owed a lot of money, something that may actually threaten the performance of these health schemes that have been started by the government even before they fully kick in. Interesting story right there on a page 2. You can go in and take a read on it. Good. Story here on a page 18. On a man's search for Chinese father that has ended in sadness. It's an interesting story on a story here. Let me just give you a snapshot on it. Brian Lian persistently asked his mother about his father, but she kept the secret to himself. A breakthrough will come years later after Lian's graduation from university, except the joy for the 25-year-old finding his father would be short-lived. That story has been covered on a page 3. All right. Lian's age when his father died in China in 2019. And it's an interesting story that you really need to read right there. Now, the bigger story here is how the youngsters of Harambee Stars who've been driving Chance campaign. And if you've not been following, by the way, we topped a group in that qualifier. Now we're into the quarterfinals officially. A story here that has been covered on page 35 on the young Kenyans who have been carrying Kenya through this run-in for Harambee Stars. Austin Odhiambo's 23 years old, Sylvester Wino 24, Brian Omondi 28, Ryan Ogama 20, and Mansour Sulaiman 19 years of age. Now, through their grit and personal flair, goalkeeper Brian Omondi, striker Ryan Ogam, defender Sylvester Wino, midfielder Austin Odhiambo, and centre-back Suleimani Mansour have been central to Kenya's progress. I do know that a sports team here, led by Felix Solana, will come in and put this news in proper perspective on how these 4 have been performing. Are they the heavily rated performers in this campaign? Well, I do know that if you look at the ratings of our players in the final game that was held this weekend, majority of them, by the way, got more than 7 stars and above. That normally happens when a team puts in proper performance, or when a team really doesn't lose in a game. Yeah. So much to say about how Arsenal played this weekend, because I can see majority of them actually rated below 7. Victor Gyökeres got 5.4. Yeah. No, well, Felix Solana will be putting this into proper perspective once they walk into the stadium today. Fantastic. Let's then cross over to the Standard this morning and see exactly what they have for us as well. Let's see some of the top stories that have been covered here on the Standard. Well, it's worst ever speakers. Now, President William Ruto has once again broken his silence to lash out on Parliament, where the leadership of Moses Wetangula and Amason Kingi is coming under sharp scrutiny. The 2 speakers stand accused of abandoning impartiality, presiding over corruption-tainted chambers, and surrendering the House to the highest bidder. Far from defending the people they represent, critics say Wetangula and Kingi are fast cementing their place among the most underwhelming speakers in Kenya's history. That story has been covered on page 4 of the Standard. In fact, that's the biggest story this morning. So you've got to go in and read and see exactly where they're coming from on this one. If you look at the Financial Standard this morning, they're talking about how Kenya is eyeing more billions from mining. A renewed hope. The mineral extraction industry shows promising prospects with the early results pointing towards recovery. That story has been covered on a page 24 and 25. There's also a story here on how State Now is going to review frequency rules amid new trade deals. That story has been covered on a page 23 as well on of the Financial Standard this morning. Now, some of the top stories that you're going to meet this morning also on the Standard, let me just give you a snapshot, is how now ODM Secretary Edwin Sifuna was among the legislators who skipped the first broad-based parliamentary group meeting held on Monday, and now actually is the news that we gave you this morning from the Daily Nation on how that meeting didn't go well. You know, it ended prematurely when members of parliament did not like the push by the 2 premiers, that is President Dr. William Ruto and former VP, that is Raila Amolo Odinga, on that push to have CDF and NGCDF removed from their control. Yeah, interesting news right there. Now, some of the top stories that we also carried for you this morning on our platforms that you really have to know. Again, KNUT is also defending a new CBA amid teachers' uproar of mega pay rise. In fact, there were rumors that some teachers actually got 26 shillings as a pay rise. That conversation, we're going to have it very soon right here in the studio, just to see exactly what the pay rise meant for the teachers this morning. Good. Also, CJ Comey this morning is also telling you that you should stop bullying judges on social media platforms. Let's see exactly what is trending this morning. Rano Gum is trending this morning, and we do know why it's trending. This is from the Harambee Stars, all right? Push in Chan has been among the top performers in this competition, all right? Let me see what, there's a guy called here DP saying 2.5 million for Rano Gum. Harambee Stars must win. There's also a story here on Sami Kenzulu saying, like father, like son, Rano Gum with his father, Daudi Obonyo, former Gor Mahia player, the current chair of ODM, Starehe constituency, and NGCDF, Starehe constituency, right? So it's football, right, within the family. Chris Miwambo saying this morning that twice Boniface Mushiri had the chance to try his luck, but he had to be selfless, set up Rano Gum, who scored the country's most important goal. In the military, country comes before an individual. A soldier fought for his country, not for him. Kenya is marching on. This is for you, Mushiri. Yeah. Last one this morning on Rano Gum. Legends exist in Kenya. Mushiri is both player and soldier. Congratulations, Harambee Stars, this morning. Good. Let me also take you to some of the things that we are seeing this morning. Is let me see. Do we have so much? Yes, Sifuna is trending, and we do know why it's trending. This is after I missed that first broad-based government consultation meeting that was held yesterday. Otoma was saying this is an appreciation tweet for Babu Wino and Edwin Sifuna. Actually, they missed, yes. Saying Omwami and Babu must be respected. Well, also Otoma the brand was saying this move by Sifuna to miss the meeting shows that he's one of the leaders who stick to his principles. That is Otoma the brand. There's also tweets here about how Babu Wino and Edwin Sifuna are the only leaders who can put their interests aside. They skipped the UDA ODM parliamentary group meeting. I've already told you that indeed that meeting did not go on as planned. It ended prematurely yesterday. Cornelius Kariuki is saying these two, Sifuna and Babu, do not need ODM to win an election. They're bigger than Odinga's now. Good. That's what Kenyans are talking about this morning. Also, if you want to know, Leeds is trending this morning in Kenya, and we do know why. Yesterday, they went in and beat Everton, and the newly promoted boys really came in and showed what it takes to beat Premier League survivors. That is Everton. I'm calling them survivors because season in, season out, Everton are always fighting to remain in the league. So the new boys who've come in and essentially beaten Premier League boys are Sunderland, who beat West Ham, and now Leeds, who beat Everton. That said, Ugarte is still trending. We do know why. Man United fans, I'm not going to talk about this. I mean, we'll be talking about it this Sunday. You're still in position 15 with a negative goal difference. Ugarte is still trending. I mean, one of your best buys last season, who came in for only 25 minutes and still managed to be the worst player on the pitch. I'm sorry, your problems will still be with you into the new season. Well, that's what it is that you're waking up to this morning, right here on the Morning Drift. You can talk to us at Lookup TV across all your social media platforms. I am at Kia Gesimba. We'll take a tiny breather. Once we come back, more conversations right here on the Morning Drift. Good morning.
tu taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup. Kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza alikuwa na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
People are there to belittle you. When people are questioning you,
if you don't move fast, of course, yes, you lose it, but then it's not us to push you.
But you do not know the God who has been molding me. What has he been doing to me?
The deep and mature conversations of empowerment for you with a curious mind and an appetite for oriented conversations.
I concur with what you're saying.
You plan your finances, you can easily live without a debt.
An engaging safe space of free expression and truthfulness with an upheld vibrance, motivation and happiness.
So many children who are there, they are not living their dreams.
Join us for deep conversations with Zipporah Gashushe every Saturday from 8 p.m. The Deeper Conversations on Lookup TV.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.